Hello, good people, and welcome to Truthcast TV. Just when you think, well, I'm sorry, let me just start it out by saying, if you're new to this channel, please click that subscribe button. If you like this video, please click that like button. It'll help me out a lot. I would greatly appreciate it. And much love to my subscribers. Thank you so much for your support. Just when you think the left couldn't get any more radical than what they already are, you would be very mistaken. As everybody knows now, Seattle has been took over by Antifa, and they have created an autonomous zone. And the police tucked their tail in between their legs like a bunch of cowards and left the precinct because they're scared of Antifa. No, it's not because they're scared of Antifa, but it's because they were told to stand down and get the hell out of the way and let Antifa do what it wants to do, just like they have so many times before. Now, just when you think the left couldn't get any more retarded, any more radical, any more communist than they already are, I come across this interview a few hours ago, and this was from earlier today, where CNN is interviewing the left-wing radical libtard mayor from Seattle. And well, I'm just going to shut up and let y'all take a look. Let's get it.
Hill Autonomous Zone, CHAZ for short. Several blocks. This is Seattle's so-called Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, CHAZ for short. Several blocks of the city now taken over by protesters. After several days of violent clashes between police and the protesters, officers retreated from the area to de-escalate the tension, effectively abandoning their station.
Officers retreated from they tucked their tail in between their legs and run like a bunch of cowards because the people in power told them to do so. And this is exactly what happens when you elect a left-wing radical libtard as your mayor.
On Thursday, President Trump threatened to intervene.
So, for all the people in Seattle, if something goes wrong, if shit goes left, no pun intended, don't worry. You can call Black Lives Matter and you can call Antifa. Because a SoundCloud rapper named Raz it's like, I can't even believe I'm even saying this. A SoundCloud rapper by the name of Raz is patrolling the streets of Seattle now. And he is basically who you have to call if something goes wrong in the autonomous zone. Because, well, the police tucked their tail in between their legs like a bunch of cowards and took off. They abandoned their precinct. And, well, let's just hear what the left-wing libtard mayor has to say about all of this.
Tweeting to Washington Governor Jay Inslee and Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan to take back the city now, or he would. But protests have been calm and peaceful since the police left, and the mayor is pushing back.
That is more like a block party atmosphere. It's not an armed takeover. It's not a military junta.
You should know, leaving the precinct was not my decision.
Seattle's police chief publicly at odds with the decision to flee.
I'm glad somebody is speaking the truth. It wasn't her decision. They didn't do it because they wanted to. They did it because they were told to.
Although not calling the mayor out by name, it's clear the two are not on the same page.
Ultimately, the city had other plans for the building and relented to severe public pressure. I'm angry about how this all came about.
Protesters say they won't be intimidated by...
I'll tell you exactly how this all come about. because you elected a left-wing radical libtard communist for your mayor. That is exactly how that happened. So if Donald Trump doesn't win this election this year and Joe Biden becomes president, we are all. I'm just saying. Let's continue.
By threats and say they plan to stay as long as it takes to bring about change.
I'm not scared of Donald Trump, no, and I'm not scared of his police officers either.
This I believe, let's see. Sorry about that, y'all. This right here is Raz, I believe. Isn't he the warlord? No, excuse me. This isn't Raz. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Let's continue.
We're going to stay outside this building whether they come here or not. We're going to take this building over whether they're outside threatening us or not. We're not afraid of them.
Among the protesters' demands that the department be defunded and that the station be turned into a community center. One Seattle police officer candidly saying the department has made mistakes.
We want a dialogue. We want to communicate, right? But if the public is so angry at us, how do we start? How do we do that?
And not only that, but she's sorry for being white.
People expect better. We need to be better.
As for when the standoff might end, the mayor hasn't indicated, saying the city could have what she calls the summer of love.
Now wait till you hear Chris Dumbo interviewing the mayor. This is going to get really, really entertaining. Let's continue.
Prompting another fiery tweet from the president. These liberal Dems don't have a clue. The terrorists burn and pillage our cities, and they think it is just wonderful. Even the death must end this Seattle takeover now.
The occupation will last indefinitely, but I do see them getting back into their building. They're going to get back into their building to get their stuff out. I don't see them getting back in after that.
Well, city leaders acknowledge that everything has been peaceful and you continue to have this street festival-like situation, but there appears to be no strategy in place in terms of how or when officers will seek to reclaim that station.
Seattle has become largely a matter of perspective.
Now, listen to Chris Dumbo. He knows exactly what he's talking about. And he's going to straighten this whole thing out right here.
Is this a largely peaceful takeover of part of the city? Can you have a peaceful takeover? Or do you have an occupation? Now we hear that the protesters are negotiating with officials. Should they have the leverage to negotiate in a city where they are not supposed to have any control? There's a map of this new so-called area. They're calling it Chaz. The Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone takes up several city blocks. People were pushed out, police were pushed out of the area on Monday.
They were not pushed out. Let's get this straight. They were not pushed out. They were told to get out by the powers that be.
There's a live look.
By the globalist scumbag puppets who pledged allegiance to the New World Order.
Look, I mean, if you look at it, it's not an angry protest. It's not really organized, but it is completely occupied. I interviewed Seattle's mayor yesterday.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not an angry mob taking. No. It's not Antifa, a bunch of domestic terrorists trying to intimidate the citizens of Seattle and anybody who doesn't agree with them. They spray with mace or try to beat with sticks or hit upside the head while their backs turned. No. It's the summer of love. It's the summer of Antifa and the left-wing radical libtards.
She made a reference to the 1967 Summer of Love. She got some love for that and some critics, including the president, saying this is anarchy and officials need to shut it down. Mayor Jenny Durkan.
You gotta love Chris Dumbo. I mean, he's just great, man. I'm glad he finally made it out of his basement. I'm glad he I'm glad he could muscle through that coronavirus he had. You know, because for a second there, I thought it was going to take him out. Thank God he made it out of his basement. Oh, yeah. And what happened? Let me ask you a question. What happened to the social distancing? What happened to the people wearing masks? What happened to this COVID-19 that's killing so many people and just ravaging America and just completely ravaging the whole world? What happened to that? Huh? Where did that go? Let's continue. I don't hear her say one thing about COVID-19 and about social distancing. Look at her. She loves it. She loves it. America, keep on electing these left-wing radical libtards to be your governors and your mayors. And this is exactly how your city is going to end up. I digress. Let's continue. Let's listen to Chris Dumbo. And let's listen to this left-wing radical libtard globalist satanic worshipping puppet.
Returns tonight. Ms. Mayor, thank you very much for taking the opportunity. What can you tell us about the state of play?
Chris, thanks for having me back. First, I want to assure the president that Seattle is fine. I'm not sure what he's so afraid of, and what he's depicting to the nation just isn't true. I spent time in the area today.
It just isn't true. They didn't just push the police out of their precinct, start spray painting all over the buildings. They haven't been rioting for almost 3 weeks now, burning small businesses down that just have reopened after this pandemic and after being shut down for 3 months and losing their livelihoods. No. It's all just a facade. It's all just in our heads because we're just conspiracy theorists. That's all. Let's continue.
Talking to people, listening to their concerns, talking about what brought them there, what they want to see for our city and for community. I don't know why the president is so afraid of democracy. Free speech is part of who we are. It's how we started as a nation.
Antifa is not democracy. Black Lives Matter is not democracy. They are left-wing radical libtard militants.
We will be fine in Seattle, and we don't need the president's help.
So the president is saying...
It looks like they're fine. No, they don't need no help. They're good. So, for everybody in Seattle, if I've got any subscribers in Seattle, just call Antifa or Black Lives Matter. If something goes wrong, they'll come and save you. It's the summer of love.
Yes, of course, there's hyperbole in there. It's like a hellscape out of Mad Max. This is the left run amok, all that. And yet, you do have a reality on your hands. You have negotiations between the people who are there and police. They seem to feel that they have a sense of domain where they are. They are in control of that area so that you can't have normal traffic. You don't have normal life there. You have your police chief saying she didn't want to leave the precinct, that the city caved to pressure. That doesn't sound great either, does it?
So place-based protests are nothing new in Seattle or across America. I mean, you saw Occupy take part of Wall Street for almost 8 months in New York, and the city managed to survive. Mm-hmm. I think what we really have to do is, it's the old saying of we're given, one mouth but two ears. It's time to listen. What's happening in America right now?
She's got one mouth and two ears, but nothing but air for a brain. Just saying. Let's continue.
now is so significant, and we as leaders have to listen and determine what changes can we bring to bring us to a better country and better cities. My job as mayor is to move forward in a way that really pays attention to the very legitimate pain and rage in the streets about centuries of systemic racism and communities being held back. If we
Look at Chris Dumbo right here, trying not to laugh. Even he knows. Even he knows how retarded she sounds.
miss this opportunity, our nation will miss an opportunity. And so I'm not afraid to listen to people. I'm not afraid to hear what they want and to see if we as a city can address that very real.
She's not afraid, but then again, she's got 20 police protecting her house and never comes out of it. But she's not afraid. She's been out on the streets talking to people all day. I guarantee it.
Real pain.
Negotiations. What are the state of negotiations? What are they asking for? What do you like? What do you not like?
So I've met with many community groups over the last 2 weeks. There's a range of demands and desires by people.
She's met with plenty of, she's been out there on the street just talking to everybody. You know, she's been out there just talking to Anquifa and Black Lives Matters and just all them people. And she knows what they want. Tell them what they want, Mayor.
Which everything from how we do policing, that we've met some of them already, to how do we really do the thing people want the most, and that is invest in community, invest in their children, invest in opportunity, and making sure that our schools, our healthcare systems, our equity and economy are built for everybody. Because if you look across all of our systems, people of color, and particularly Black Americans, have been left behind in every one of them. That doesn't happen by mistake. It happens because of how the structures are built. And so when I listen to people, mostly what I hear is their desire to see the true opportunity and equity be made real in all of those systems, that we as a society invest in those systems greater than we've already invested in the criminal justice system. And I think that's the right path forward.
She thinks that's the right path forward. So it's got to be, right?
I think the linking thought to what's going to bring about a new culture wave of change will be that, yes, of course, color and systemic racism is a reality, but that the need and the spread of opportunity is more have not than it is just color. Color, absolutely. Race is an identifiable and an intrinsic part of inequality in this society. But it goes beyond that. And I think if you can get that out of these streets, that it's color and, race and that there is a list of needs for society, I think you have the best chance at seeing changes from power. One last thing, Mayor, while I have you, the idea of what you'll give on and what you won't, the idea of removing police from the community, of making that building something else, will the police return there to work, or is that building going to become something else?
Police have been back in there. The chief of police was there yesterday. They've had some people in there, and we're going to continue to analyze whether that's the best place for the police to operate. Whether
they were back there yesterday. They had a few officers in there. It's all good.
There's additional things, but really what I hear from people when I listen to them is, first, I've got to listen. And the harder it is for me to listen, the more important it is that I be sitting and listening. And the second is, I think Dave Chappelle said it very well. This movement came from the streets. It didn't come from politicians. It didn't come from elected leaders.
No, this movement come from the streets. It didn't come from George Soros paying people to do so. No. That's all propaganda. That's all facade. That's just a conspiracy theory, y'all. Damn.
Leaders. And we've got to, some ways, get out of the way and to listen to the streets, because those kind of movements are what...
She, the whitest woman you ever seen, has got to listen to the streets. Her living in her mansion with armed guards around it 24 hours a day is listening to the streets. Don't y'all know that?
has moved America forward
She's street now.
through its whole existence. And I think we've got to do that. And if we miss this opportunity, I would say shame on.
He can barely keep a straight face. I mean, really. Me too. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, but this is just some of the most entertaining stuff I have seen in a while. I'm sorry for laughing, but you know, I've drunk a few beers tonight, and just seeing this, it's just, to me, it's like watching a soap opera. As Anquifa turns, you know, days of our Anquifa, you know. Anyway, let's continue.
On all of us.
Yeah, look, there's no question. We've never had any meaningful change that hasn't started at the grassroots, the street, the people, the populist.
You tell him, Chris Dumbo. The Communist News Network. They're giving you some solid facts right here.
Level. I think that's always been true. And we'll see where it goes here. You certainly have a lot of people watching, Mayor Durkan, and you will continue to have this platform to explain the situation.
Listen, y'all, that's all I got for tonight. That's all I can stand of these libtards. I'll watch CNN so you don't have to. So do me a favor. Click that subscribe button. If you like this video, click that like button. And I've got more content coming this weekend. Probably plenty more. So stay tuned. And stay woke. And until next time, I'm out.